Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars The Force Awakens The Black Series number 2 Rey and BB-8 6-inch scale figures. Alright you guys, as you can see from the packaging here, we get the standard The Force Awakens style 6-inch Black Series boxing. Looks very, very nice. Pretty nice image of Rey down there in the lower right. And the side of the box indicates that this is number 2 in the lineup. And then a little bit of information back here on the back about Rey and BB-8. Alright, you guys, so out of the box, it's not a bad looking figure. I'm not overly blown away by it so far. But it looks decent enough from a sculpting standpoint. Her proportions seem to be quite nice. And I must say, she does look better out of the box. The outfit very much has a ragged type look to it. I'm not a huge fan of the costume, but, you know, that's just me personally. Of course, Rey does come with BB-8 and comes with one additional accessory, which we'll look at in just a moment. Give you a close-up here of her head. The face paint is painted pretty nicely. I must say, though, that the forehead just looks a little bit too large. I don't know, it just kind of has like a little bit of a masculine type look to it. I don't know if it's the jawline or, you know, the way that they sculpted the hairline, you know, so high up. I think part of the issue is that the hairline isn't painted all the way down to the bottom of the hairline. It's a little bit above it. And, yeah, as you can see there on that side of the figure especially, they didn't paint the hair all the way. So, you know, that certainly could be contributing to that. But they did attempt to give her some pretty interesting makeup. First of all, her eyes look really nice. They're kind of like a light brown sort of color. Her lips are like a pinkish red sort of color. And then she has some blush on her cheeks. And I think they overdid it a good little bit. It just seems a little bit too much. Not to mention the fact that, and it might be a little hard to capture this on camera, but she does have little specks of paint like on her cheek area. Perhaps you can kind of see it right there. Just a little bit of a slop there, you know, paint that somehow wandered. The hair is pretty cool. I mean, it's an interesting design. How would this be Star Wars without a female character, without an interesting hairdo? And the rest of the outfit, like I said, very simplistic. I'm not personally a huge fan of the whole scavenger type look that they, not specifically this look that they gave Rey. You know, it works. I think when I see it in the film, I'll like it better because it does look a little bit nicer in the trailers. You know, perhaps it's just the figure. But basically it's pretty simple. You get kind of like these, you know, desert type garments around what looks to be like a white short sleeve top underneath. She does have a belt. It has a pouch, doesn't open or anything. And, you know, the parts of the costume are pretty pliable. This is very interesting, though, how they tied this. I would have preferred they would have just cut straight through it. That way you could move the leg out. You can see her legs kind of sticking through there. I think that's probably what I don't really like about the costume. It just looks kind of weird, seeing, like, you know, her legs from the knees down. But, you know, let's wait and see the movie and see what, you know, the background is on her. The boots actually kind of remind me a good bit of what Princess Leia had when she was in her slave outfit in Return of the Jedi. In the way of articulation, Rey has a ball joint at the head, though you don't get a whole lot of upward or downward movement. It does go side to side quite well. She has ball hinging at both of her shoulders, and you can move them out with a little bit of effort, and overall they move pretty well. She's got ball hinging at both of her elbows. She has a hinging at both of her wrists. Very, very cool. She has a swivel at the waist, which is ratcheted for some odd reason. You can just kind of hear it clicking. I don't know why they chose to do it that way. No ball hinge at the torso. She has a unique kind of ball hinging at her hips. And it's not what we usually see, because if you look underneath, you can kind of see like she has like a peg that kind of enables her legs to kind of split out. And they don't even go out that far, but this isn't this typical kind of ball joint we see on hips. You can't even see like the joint from the outside. She has swivels at both of her thighs. She's got ball hinging at both of her knees, and luckily they're pretty well concealed by the pants. And then she has ball hinges at both of her hips, along with rocker swivels. In the way of accessories, Rey comes with this. I guess this is like a staff, maybe. I don't really know what it is. It could be some sort of a weapon or something, but it just looks like a staff. Maybe it's just meant to kind of like poke and prod through stuff that she might be scavenging, or maybe she uses it to fend off like thugs or stuff. I don't know. It looks pretty good. It's very simple. It has a strap, although it doesn't really move out, so you can't put it on her shoulder. I do find it to be a little bit thin right here in this area. It just seems like I'd be afraid of that breaking if I were, a little bit careless with it. But all in all, seems like an okay accessory. Don't know a whole lot about it, but, it looks all right. All right, now let's shift our attention to BB-8. BB-8 is a character that I'm really starting to like from The Force Awakens. Just seems like a very fun droid. I really love the way that he moves, or she moves. I don't know if it's a he or she yet. The figure itself for BB-8 in the 6-inch scale is quite small, no more than a couple inches high. And, basically what you see is what you get. She's kind of just, or he kind of just balances there. There's more weight like at the bottom of the toy. That way, it keeps it kind of somewhat propped up. You do got to kind of play with it a little bit. But as you can see, it's got kind of like an anchor at the bottom of it. BB-8, let me give you a close-up. Looks okay as far as paint goes. It does look a little bit messy. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Just seems like the paint should be a little bit cleaner, like around its sensors. As far as detail goes, it has a pretty fair amount of detail on the head. You can certainly see that. It looks pretty good. The antennas there that it has. Detail on the rest of the body, is pretty decent. The paint, it has like a wash to it that kind of makes it look a little bit dirtied up, and that's especially apparent on the head or on the dome. On the body, you can kind of see a little bit of it too, though, like, in here. Just little areas where you see a little bit of what looks to be like dirt, perhaps because BB-8 is presumably on Jakku, which is, of course, the desert planet. In the way of articulation, BB-8 has a very interesting type of articulation. If you look under there, you will see there's like a little peg, and it kind of like, you can move the peg around like that, just like, like that, and then it does rotate like at the top of the peg. So, pretty cool. Definitely a very interesting way to have done this, but, I wouldn't expect anything more than this for a 6-inch scale Black Series figure. I think this is about as good as you might expect, short of them actually doing magnets or something. And very interestingly, the way that you orient the head affects how BB-8 balances. So if we have BB-8's head moving off to its left, BB-8 will lean to its left. If we have the head off to the right, BB-8 will lean to the right. So you want to have it, just right, just centered, just enough so that, you can hopefully get it to balance very neutrally, just like that. Overall, it's a pretty decent looking BB-8. I think it could have been better, especially if they would have painted it a little bit more cleanly. But for what it is, this is the only way you're going to get a 6-inch scale BB-8 right now. And for that, I'm grateful to have it. And here's a look at Rey and BB-8 along with the other 6-inch scale figures we have looked at in the Force Awakens lineup, Kylo Ren and First Order Stormtrooper. As you can see, she is a little bit shorter. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars Force Awakens, the Black Series, number 2, Rey and BB-8 6-inch scale figures. Overall, I must say that it's a pretty nice package. I am not overwhelmed by Rey. The figure itself, well, if you do a figure quite well, it doesn't really matter what the costume looks like. It's going to be a good figure. I can't say that this is an excellent figure. It's decent. And it really needed BB-8, because if it didn't come with BB-8, I'm not so sure that this would have been a very good value at $20. Rey herself isn't that bad. The facial sculpt is decent. Could have been a little bit better. It looks a good amount like the actress, but, again, could have been a little bit nicer. Paint on it is pretty clean except for the hairline, where they didn't paint it all the way. Makeup seems to be a little bit overdone, but I can see why they might wanted to have added a little bit more than it needed to be, just to make it a little more feminine looking. And the outfit itself, it's sculpted pretty nicely, but I think some of the layers do hinder the movement of her legs a little bit. She's pretty nicely articulated. I think a ball hinge at the torso would have been appreciated. Her accessory is okay. Not a whole lot to it. You can't put it on her shoulder. Given that this strap is solid plastic, it should have been soft. That way you could do that. That would have been very nice. BB-8 is pretty good. I think it's pretty inventive on Hasbro's part, the way that they engineered it so that when you move the head, it dictates, how the body's going to lean, what direction it's going to be facing. But I do think the paint application on BB-8 could have been better, and I think I would have liked it a lot more had it been a nicer paint scheme. So all in all, this isn't a bad set. If you're collecting the 6-inch Star Wars Black Series line for The Force Awakens, then you're probably going to want to have Rey and BB-8 because, like I said, this is the only way you can get BB-8, and this is the only version of Rey we currently have, who seems to be a main character from the film. I assume that we will get another Rey down the line, especially since the box says that this Rey is from Jakku. If they went out of their way to mention that on the box, that could very well mean that we will be getting a new version of her down the line, and hopefully a repack of BB-8 with cleaner paint. I would really like that. So all in all, if I was going to give this a rating between 1 and 5 stars, I think I would give it 3 stars. I think it's adequate. I would pay $20 again for the set, but I'm not blown away with it. I expected a little bit more, to be quite honest. But I'm really intrigued by the character of Rey. I'm drawn to the female characters, especially when there's strong type female characters like this. So really excited to see Rey in the movie, see what she's all about, and of course see BB-8 in The Force Awakens as well. Alright my friends, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments whether or not you think this is a worthy set of picking up. And as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.